Well, Darren and I see a lot of different insects each year. Most of them we're not too concerned about, but last summer I just remember getting a phone call from Darren and he said, what do you know about red-headed flea beetles? I said, I know about flea beetles, but not much about red-headed flea beetles. What are you seeing out there?
Well, generally, Brian has determined redheads are a problem. That's me and my sister.
I think that's a proven fact.
But out in the field, redheaded flea beetles, we're doing some feeding in our soybean fields. And so that was one of the insects that we had to fight this year. They were at high enough levels that they were actually doing quite a bit of defoliation in the field.
Yeah, most of the time defoliation isn't a real big issue, but if you get too much, obviously, then we got to take a look at it.
The larval stage of the red-headed flea beetle is something I did not notice this year in our fields, but certainly it was out there because we had the adults present as a long, slender, worm-looking caterpillar kind of thing. That's fine. I don't really see a big impact there. Didn't notice anything with root feeding or so forth in our crop. But as those adults came out, as we mentioned, there was certainly some feeding above ground. And whenever we're trying to deal with a plant like soybeans that's flowering constantly throughout the later half of the summer, well, we've got to get after it with some control. Now with red-headed flea beetle, fortunately for us, the control methods were pretty easy.
All right, whenever we talk about flea beetles, by the way, I should have said this at the open. With flea beetles, whatever type we're talking about, they like to flee. They like to jump fast, move quickly. So when you're walking through the field, a lot of times you can see them jumping from plant to plant, something like that. So we've seen this for many years, and what we've found has been relatively effective is seed treatment. Because a lot of times these flea beetles are out there early in the season. There are systemic insecticides like Poncho, Gaucho, and Cruiser that will have some impact on those flea beetles, so that's usually where I like to start.
Well, if we're going to use that class of chemistry, Brian, that is the best time to use it, is right on the seed. You're going to get some good movement through the plant, good early season control. Then post-emerge, we're going to use something else. And we've had pretty good luck with pyrethroids like bifenthrin especially. And now that it's come way down in price, this is getting used more commonly on many farms. Instead of using the cheap first generation pyrethroids, for example, we're seeing guys step up in class and move to bifenthrin.
All right, so Darren mentioned post-emerge insecticides. Every once in a while, we'll get somebody saying, hey, could I use one of these neonics, you know, the same chemistry as Poncho, Gaucho, Cruiser? Could I use that post-emerge? Because there are some recommendations out there saying, yeah, these really aren't too bad of options. Well, you know what? They aren't real bad options, but the problem with using those post is potential for bee kills. We really want to save the neonics. It's the only class of chemistry we've got left for seed treatment insecticides. We don't want to lose them on that side of things, so we would just encourage you, do not use this chemical family, the neonics, post. Use something else like bifenthrin or possibly even Lorsban or a combination of the two.
One thing that was fortunate on our farm this year is we didn't see the red-headed flea beetles until mid-season. So it was right about the time that we were going out there to spray fungicides, and we didn't see any decrease in control whatsoever putting the insecticide in with the fungicide. We've been doing that for years for a number of different insects, soybean aphids, bean leaf beetles. Red-headed flea beetles kind of fit into that same bill that we could do two things at once. Even we did some with foliar feeding at the same time as insecticide applications, and everything worked fine.
Well, the big thing here is we really want you to scout your fields. Scout your fields on a regular basis. If you're seeing problems out there and you can't identify them, even like this red-headed flea beetle, this is the first year we've really seen this on our farm. Okay, find out what it is. Do some research on it, bring it to an extension agent or your agronomist, something like that. Just find out what the problem really is and then try to determine what the economic threshold is. Now, if there isn't an established economic threshold, you know what? You're just going to have to make your own determination. If it appears that the bug is feeding on your crop and it looks like, hey, I might actually have some damage here, I'm worried about that, I know that anytime the plant is opened up, I'm more likely to have a disease issue, then you might be pulling the trigger on that. The other thing is, if you're already out there to spray something else, well, just make sure you pick an insecticide that will kill whatever your original target was, plus this new bug that you found that you've deemed harmful.
Hey, one thing that wasn't harmful about the red-headed flea beetles, Brian, is they do like to feed on weeds like lamb's quarters and pigweed. And I love seeing bugs out in a field that start devouring the weeds and like that more than our crop. But if they do get to a big level in your crop, you will have to treat for them as well.
Well, if you want top yields, you've got to get red-headed flea beetles under control, if you obviously have enough of them. Well, the other thing that you've got to control, if you have enough of them, is our weed of the week. We're going to tell you how to stop this tough weed coming up next.